everyone. Friday, August 8th, about 2 in the afternoon. Been a crazy day already. Did a bunch of brush cutting, sanded the whole shed in preparation for painting. Sure there's some other things I've been doing that I am not mentioning, but it's been a crazy week, all week, just non-stop. Not a bad week. I don't mind being busy. But sometimes it's a bit much with everything going on in the garden and with this trying to get this shed buttoned up. I've got a pretty busy work schedule. Matter of fact, I've got to get back to the house real soon and start my paying job. But weather this week, a lot of rain. It wasn't a washout as such. I mean, we did get a lot of rain, but it didn't rain all day. It rained every day, but you know, we'd get an hour or two of some nice blue sky and sunshine, and then we'd get a half an hour or an hour of, you know, a good downpour of rain and a bit of wind. We get these little squalls that come in off of the Baltic Sea. It's just what happens here. Sometimes you get into those cycles. Temperature wise, real nice. You know, in Fahrenheit around 70 each day. In Celsius it's like 20, something like that. But everything's going well. This week's video, I'm gonna have kind of a, as I usually do, kind of a mishmash of different topics to share with you. I will share with you part 4, or what I'm going to call the final version of the shed edition. Maybe you guys will be thankful for that, but it's not done, but I was able to get it to the point where I did move in some things from the big shed just to try to organize. I got rid of some stuff, so I'll show you some clips on that. We do plan to paint it in the very near future. As I mentioned earlier, I did a bunch of sanding today. I'll probably share with you, you know, a quick video when the shed is actually painted, just so you can see the finished product. But I won't do any more, you know, part 5 or part 6 on the shed edition. I think you guys have heard enough about the shed edition. I will talk about a new piece of equipment or tool that I recently got. I think I'm going to share with you, of course, quick, I'll try to keep it quick, garden and greenhouse update. Oh, I'm sorry, back to the shed edition. I will also show you a real quick time lapse. I mean, it'll be like less than a minute of, you know, from start to finish, from foundation to roof, etc. You guys might get a kick out of that. If you haven't seen the previous videos or parts on the shed edition, you might want to go back and watch those. Otherwise the time lapse might not make a whole lot of sense to you. But also I do have, I don't know if it's really big news, but I did book a flight to return back to the USA to visit my family in late September. So I'm sure I'll try to document that trip. You guys might get a kick out of it. You know, I probably won't do a lot of filming of my family and visit time. That's kind of private. But as far as the journey, I think you guys will be pretty surprised at how brutal of a journey that is to get from where I live in Lithuania to, you know, even Chicago, for example. Of course, I still got to go another 5-6 hours from Chicago to get to where my mom and sisters are. But you know, look for that towards the beginning of October. Once I get back, I'm sure I'll post kind of a time lapse of my trip to America. You guys might get a kick out of that. Trying to think if I'm missing anything else. Nothing comes to mind, so I'll cut to the chase and get to the rest of the video. If I forget anything, I'll throw it in later. Thanks for clicking on the video, by the way, guys. Again, sometimes I forget to say that, but it really makes my day when I see those views. Have a good one. Hi, everyone. If you don't believe everything I've been saying about how much rain we've been getting lately, This is actually that what I referred to in a previous video as the sketchy road. People actually use this as a shortcut. A month ago this was bone dry and dusty. Look at it now. Definitely not bone dry and dusty. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a duck swimming through here, but this is a road. I think people have gotten a little cheeky and they've made a bypass that goes through the weeds out here and out to the field and then back out to the road there where you can kind of see my ATV. But point is, big change in the last 3 weeks or a month. Just rain, rain, rain. So I finally got a new piece of equipment that should hopefully make my life easier. It's not the weed trimmer in the background. It's what's in the box here. It's a high pressure washer or pressure sprayer, whatever you want to call it. We got a special kit or package that includes a few accessories that I'm really hoping are gonna improve my life. More on that in just a minute or two. I need to unbox it and make sure that it is exactly what I ordered, because the box doesn't show the specific accessory, which was the reason that I bought the kit. So hang on tight, I'll show you when I get everything unboxed. So I got it unboxed and put together, and did find that it did include the accessory, which was the main reason I bought the kit, and it is this thing right here. If you look at it, it's an attachment you attach to the sprayer, but more importantly, underneath there's these tiny little jets that are gonna blow, and this is specifically made for cleaning pavers, bricks, whatever you want to talk about, because if any of you haven't seen previous videos, I struggle with keeping my pavers free from moss. Basically for the last several years I get down on my hands and knees and I clean all this moss from between the bricks. I've tried all the different methods and didn't really like it. In fact, I just did this last fall, less than a year ago, and you can see how much it's already grown. So hopefully this new setup is gonna help make that process easier with this special attachment. Time will tell. I've done some research. It seems to work pretty well. I've talked to a couple of other people, or seen other people like neighbors using it. Seems to work fine. There's some drawbacks. You do have to re-sand or put the grit back into the cracks between the pavers. So when you get everything all blown away and cleaned up, you got to get some real fine sand and work it back into the cracks. I think it's a worthwhile trade-off to save my back. But that's it for now. Hopefully everything works. It wasn't a cheap bit of gear. I'm sure we can use it for other things like washing the car. I can blow the mud out of the fenders or the inner fenders on my ATV. Theoretically, we can clean some of the algae off the side of the house, but the main purpose of buying it was for cleaning the bricks. I'll keep you guys posted. I probably won't use it yet this year. I'll probably wait till spring, but we'll see. And to continue on the topic of tools or equipment, this is actually a drill that I brought in the shipping container from America. Those of you from America will probably recognize this brand. It is basically the cheapest brand of tool you can buy in America. Very bad quality, etc. However, there's one thing that this drill does nicely, and it's for just using just rotary tools, or in this case I've got a little synthetic plastic sander that I'm using to, before we paint, we're just sanding and smoothing out these siding boards. It works great for that. It is useless pretty much for any other job, but I keep it around for things like this. That being said, just as a refresher, it is an American tool and runs off of 110 volts. However, I am in Lithuania, or more to the point, Europe. So here's what I've got to do. It's 110. This is an extension cord from America, 110. It goes into a converter that converts it from 220 to 110. Then I got to run the extension cord all the way into my garage. So it's not the end of the world, but it just shows you know, some of the differences between Europe and America, and some of the little nuances that I have to deal with in my life. And as you can hopefully see, I was able to do a bit of organizing in the main shed because of the addition. I moved a bit of stuff out of here. I got rid of some stuff. It's still chaos, but it's more of an organized chaos. I know where everything is. Everything's kind of grouped together. I pretty much don't need to climb over anything to get to other things. That barbecue grill is the only exception, but it's not too big a deal to move that if I need to get back there. I was going to show you guys, I didn't show you before, but as I mentioned in my previous video, I do have a light in this shed, solar powered, but I never use it. When the door is open, I can see everything in here just fine. But onto the main attraction. I was able to move a bunch of stuff in here. Still plenty of room. I could still add some shelving, etc. You can see I've got ATV tires and screws and brackets and the cultivator, the snow blower, a bunch of leftover lumber from the project, bicycles. You get the gist of it. But plenty of room in here. I can still do a lot with this, but it's given me the breathing room that I needed. Again, everything's still staying bone dry in here. Everything looks real good. And we've had a ton of rain this week, which I'll talk about in other parts of this week's video. But everything's going well from this standpoint. And I did, as you can see on the ground there, we got plenty of rainwater captured in jugs. Rain gutter's doing its job, but I did bypass the rain barrel. It's just going out into the yard. We're collecting more than enough rainwater for the rest of the year. Shouldn't really need to capture anymore. And again, this whole area is still a bit chaos. I'll do a bit more with it, but at least it's, you know, like I keep saying, organized chaos. Everything's kind of in its place. And here's just a quick 30-second time lapse of the Shed Edition build. Hi everyone, just a quick update on the greenhouse and garden. I think this time I'll start in the greenhouse rather than ending in the greenhouse. As you can see, our tomatoes continue to just produce like crazy. A lot of ripe ones. We're so happy with how things are going this year. All different varieties. There's a couple varieties we probably won't do again. We always try a few new ones each year, and you know, sometimes we don't like them and we don't do them again. In the case of these black ones, I think they're called a Black Krim, K-R-I-M. I mentioned them in last week's video, but those are definitely ones we'll do again. Very tasty. Our peppers continue to do well. Jalapenos are looking pretty sad, but we've got some other, I don't think those are jalapenos. I don't remember what are those are called, but those are great. We've got some chilies getting ripe. Basil is definitely good to have around. It goes well with tomatoes. As mentioned in last week's video, our indoor cucumbers are pretty much done. Couple on the top of that one, but you can see things are turning brown, and that's normal. It's not that the plants are sick, but we start them pretty early. They produced a lot, and now they're just simply done. Stepping outside, you know, really, I won't talk about the strawberries. Those have been done for quite a while. I don't talk about it very often, but we've got some beautiful celery in here. Probably will harvest this and freeze it. Celery's good to have around for salads, etc. We have finished off all of the kohlrabi. Our leeks are looking a little small but healthy. They're still growing. Talk about these patasones or patipans. My wife did do a bunch of pickling, and that's my favorite way to eat them, is pickled. Maybe I'll show a quick shot of that here in a second. Carrots continue to produce like crazy. Way too many carrots. We should have thinned them out. Beets and Swiss chard. Our outside cucumbers don't look that great, a lot of dead leaves, etc., but they're still producing. We're getting, you know, a couple pounds each day, I think. Believe it or not, it's hard to see them in there. I think my wife has already picked from there today. Potatoes, we haven't dug up the rest of our potatoes yet, but we will in the very near future. Green beans, we've been eating a few green beans lately, which I love. Unfortunately, we don't really preserve them. They don't freeze well. They're hard to can. So we just eat them fresh, or if we have any left over, we feed them to my mother-in-law's chickens. High bush blueberries continue to produce like crazy. So big and juicy, lots of ripe ones. As mentioned in previous videos, you know, the berries were so big and heavy. We had so much wind. Some of the branches were tipping over, but they're hanging in there. Once we start picking a lot of these berries, that'll relieve a lot of the weight on them. And that's it for this week. And here's a nice American style lunch, but obviously I'm in Lithuania. BLT, otherwise known as bacon, lettuce, and tomato, with obviously tomato from our greenhouse, pickle spears, and some chips. Bon appetit. And I'll leave you guys this week with a quick tour of the flower beds. You might notice some new colors in the hydrangeas. Thanks again for clicking on the video. Have a good one.